So Jesus said, I'm the bread of life. Refers back, of course, to the time when Moses took the people of Israel into the wilderness after they'd been slaves in Egypt. It's great, isn't it? They'd been in slavery for 400 years, and they're finally released in this extraordinary miracle of Passover. Passover, a meal which involved bread, unleavened bread then, and lots of wine. By the time they got to the end of this meal, they were all pretty tired and fairly drunk. And Jesus said, I'm the bread of life. And Moses took the people out of Egypt. Well, although they'd been in slavery, they had food provided for them. Garlic and cucumbers are the things that they remembered best. Things that make your breath unpleasant, give you wind. That's what they longed for. Stuff that makes you a bit unpleasant. I guess we're the same. It's what we crave for, isn't it? The world tempts us with it, and it just makes our breath smell. And they got into the wilderness, and there's nothing to eat. And they started to look back on the days of slavery with some sort of desire, some sort of hankering back for the good old days. Isn't it easy to do that? They were slaves. It was killing them. And yet they look back at it as a golden age. How often we do the same. They said, why have you brought us into the desert? We're going to starve to death. Better for us to have died in Egypt. Well, what a travesty of the truth. And God provides for them. He provides this stuff that they don't know what it's called, and they look at it and it's thin and it's tasty, and they say, what is it? And the Hebrew for what is it is manna. They said, manna, what is it? And that's what it became known as. What is it? Well, of course, people have been asking that ever since. What is it? What is God like? What's he really about? And that's what this series is about, isn't it? What is God like? And Jesus, all those years later, came to Passover. And he took bread. And in the way that he'd done it many times before, in a way that the disciples had seen it done 30, 40 times previously, he takes the bread and he gives thanks. That's what you're supposed to do. And then he does something new. He breaks it. And says, this is my body, which is given for you. They don't understand it. He said, unless you eat of me, unless you drink of me, you can't have any part in what I'm doing. You've got to absorb me. You've got to invite me into your life in ways that is analogous to eating and digesting. I'm the bread of life. I'm the sustenance. I'm the thing that's going to feed you. What are you trusting to feed you right now? What are you trusting to give you life? Is it that relationship? You've put your hopes in it. You've put your hopes that that guy is going to ask you to marry him, that that girl is going to say yes. You've put your hopes in that job, that it's going to provide the security, that it's going to find you the fulfillment that you long for. What is it for you that is the bread of life? What is it that gives you fulfillment and hope and sustenance? What are you putting trust in? Because if it isn't Jesus, just like the manna did, it's going to decay. It's going to turn from something sweet and something nourishing into something poisonous. And the world will say it's good. The world will spend good money to get more of this stuff that actually will kill. But Jesus says, I am the bread of life. Will you trust him for your fulfillment? That his plans for you are good and will lead to joy? Are you going to trust him for provision? That actually he knows what you really need? Are you going to trust him for the desires of your heart? Or are you going to just chase after the things that are in front of you? Jesus said, I'm the bread of life. Who are you feeding on today?
This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread.